Alrighty, so I just uploaded the video referring you guys to this headline about Susan Wojcicki dying of lung cancer. And I decided not to upload my initial reaction, which was full of a lot of emotion and other things about why I thought that for me, myself, to wake up in the morning and see that was significant in the bigger picture of things. But somebody just asked me in a comment, like, I went to Mary Greeley's channel and I mentioned this in the comments. I went somewhere else and I mentioned this in the comments because a lot of people, well, anyway, this lady just now asked me why it was important. Like, what did she say? Lung cancer, why is this important? So I'm back now to the article to read for anyone who wonders why I personally think this is important, that she died from this thing. So I can't leave the screen on it because I have to read it with my eyeballs a different way. So I'm going to read the article in case you guys don't go to it, even though I displayed the headline. And this is Alexandra's thing. So this time I'll be a little more respectful. Okay, so former YouTube CEO dies of turbo cancer after deplatforming millions for medical misinformation. And then the subtitle is, which other billionaires took the death shot because they weren't really in the club? And I had made a comment in my rant video about my observations around me, who didn't take the shot, and all this stuff. So, and all this, and and I'll make comments right now about why this is important, how she passed away, and the fact that it was her to begin with. All right, we'll read for a while. So, Ed Dowd, who's, I guess he's a journalist or something, said the other day, if you're a billionaire and you didn't get the memo not to take the vaccine, that means you're not in the club. And he said, I've heard word of mouth, some people you would be shocked didn't get the memo. Now, for anyone listening, I watched interesting people that didn't get the vaccine and didn't wear a mask. People affiliated with the military, and where I was living, and all kinds of people were not following this, just like me. I didn't get the shot, and I didn't wear a mask. And then I talked about how surprised I was that some people did wear the mask. So anyway, you know how it is, controversial things. So let me just keep reading. Sadly, it appears that 25-year Google Alphabet insider and 9-year YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki might have been one of those billionaires who quote, didn't get the memo. And that she was killed by the very thing over which she destroyed YouTubers' careers. The very thing about which they had been warning their viewers. So if those of you listening, like this woman, might listen to this video, I don't know, the education about spike protein was a thing, but by that time everyone had been banned, including Mike Adams, and everyone talking about the spike protein effect and all the scientists that got banned. So this is why it's important, just in case you wondered. Dr. William Makis, MD, who has become an expert in managing the vaccine damage caused by the U.S. government genocide program, and who has devised a fenbendazole protocol for reversing the turbo cancers caused by jab, had these comments about the late YouTube CEO. And I'm trying to be non-biased and just read it as a fact. You know, you don't have to take sides. Susan Wojcicki was a deep state operative who was responsible for unprecedented censorship that led to countless unnecessary deaths. It is somewhat unusual to die of non-small cell lung cancer after only 2 years. If she took COVID-19 vaccines, this would certainly be suspicious for a turbo cancer, as lung cancers are in the top 5 most common turbo cancers, although it is hard to believe that a key deep state operative would have taken any of the jabs themselves. Now, I know people that took the so-called jab. My uncle took 5 shots, and he's still alive. He's 88, right? So not, and plus, we also know that there were doses given out in the various populations around the world that had different formulas in them, made by different factories, and some were placebo even. So some people might have died right away, like we saw, and some might never have an effect at all, depending on what kind of juice went in their arm. Okay, longtime Canadian podcaster Dan Dix, who was one of the millions deplatformed by Wojcicki, had the following, did I say her name right? Wojcicki, had the following to say about her passing. Dan Dix says, this is Dan Dix, here reporting for Press for Truth with breaking news. The former CEO of YouTube has just died suddenly of a turbo cancer that she just developed 2 years ago. This comes just 8 months after her 19-year-old son was killed by a drug overdose, which is very sad. You know what I mean? Like, it just blows me away that adults don't realize what's going on this planet with drugs. Okay, but more importantly, she developed this cancer and died after taking the COVID-1984 vaccine, the very same one she's been heavily promoting and banning people like me for warning people not to take it. So all of us on YouTube, we're warning people not to take it, or to at least be careful, or at least be aware and be informed consent. You know, we're looking at this story now. So he goes on. Like in August of 2020, when I interviewed the Highwire's Del Bigtree on censorship and the coming mandatory vaccination program. And of course, I was labeled as a conspiracy theorist for saying all of that back then, but it has come to fruition. Our channels did get censored, and the vaccine did become de facto mandatory for many people. So this lady that just asked me why it's important, I hope, whatever. Remember when I posted this video on July 7th of 2020 titled Confirm the Absolute Science Behind Masks and the Proof That They Don't Work with Danny Rancourt. Okay, quote, wearing a mask may soon be mandatory depending on where you live, and this is causing a debate about whether or not masks are actually effective. Anyway, the article goes on, and you can, I already named key names if you look them up. Dan Dix, you can go type him in and probably read this whole thing. I don't want to read the whole thing. But mainly the reason it's important is because of the nature of the kind of cancer. So like if she took the vaccine, then the poor lady died probably from complications of that. And what was told when all this was rolling out, predicted by Cliff High and tons of other people were saying that the agenda of giving someone this vaccine is that, okay, they'll get sick 2 years later and they won't be able to trace it to the vaccine anyway. And I'll just end this video by saying that who in their right mind, would trust a pharmaceutical company at all on planet Earth? You would have to be someone that has not studied the origin of the AMA and the origin of stuff. I mean, you would have to literally be somebody that did not study vaccines at all to take it ignorantly and then come down on people like that had studied the potential hazards. And so obviously, like, if the woman that just asked me this question in comments goes to my channel and hears my video and still thinks I'm full of shit, well, then we know who you are too. It's like this cognitive dissonance is a problem. And forever and a day, go to Soft White Underbelly, Mark Lada's channel, for all the stuff that's been said about Mark Lada. He interviewed a man that used to work for Big Pharma. I mean, knock, knock, who's there? Not that all drugs are bad or anything, but hello? My father died in a wheelchair drooling from dementia after spending his whole life making money off of Pfizer. And at first, so it's like, what's the problem? That people don't understand why her death of turbo cancer is a thing. It's a very interesting thing to see, and we feel sorry for her and all the other people who don't have time of day because they're so busy working, making a lot of money, that they didn't sit home even during when we had to stay home and had all this time. It's really sad. I really feel for her. I mean, I'm not laughing, oh, we told you so. And even at the people we told you so, I wouldn't laugh, because it's a sad fact of life. that genocide has been carried out by giving vaccines that weren't what they said they were, going way back in history to smallpox. I could go on because why? I didn't graduate high school, but I'm as educated as fuck because I look at both sides of the story. So anyway, that's the nature of my video. Okay, so see you guys later.